Welcome back to 5 Acres Honey Farm. I'm Tara Lynn, and we have now 2 glorious spring weekends back to back. Last weekend I started getting the apple trees mulched with some of the composted chicken bedding and kind of our older compost pile that's just been aging for a really long time. And I'll show you a little bit of that, and I'm going to be going back out and finishing that same process with the rest of the trees that are out there. I have several earlier videos about how I selected these particular apple trees here in North Carolina, and I imagine in other areas around the country that have a density of cedar trees in an area are pretty much familiar with a condition called cedar apple rust, which may be a condition that brought you to this video and to my other videos. And so these trees have been out for several years now. They have not flowered and fruited yet. I'm hoping this is the year that it happens. But I go into a lot of detail about how I selected the trees that are more resistant to cedar apple rust, and then the process that I implement every spring to help them try to avoid it, where some of the trees have gotten it, but not all of them so far. And now I'll be doing that, and also because it's such a glorious weekend again, I'll be going back in the hives, and I did get a chance, which I'll also show you in a little bit, to go in my mountain colonies and do full inspections on them. Not the best, but not the worst. And I'll give a little recap of that in a little while. But for now, kind of focusing on, we'll go check out the trees and get them mulched, and then we'll check out the hives. I'm also setting up a swarm trap. I have the first seedlings for the spring garden outside, starting their first day, getting hardened off. So I need to bring those in soon. I need to set a timer for that. Also need to water the high tunnel. I've had a little irrigation issue earlier this week, and I didn't get to water it when I wanted to. So it's just a lot of stuff happening this weekend, but the weather is perfect for it. Yeah, it's time to let the girls out. They're gonna go play for a bit. You're doing a good job, Pop Pop. Good job. I have the apple trees planted in between the coop and the house so I could keep an eye on them. And then I have the compost pile right over here. That's all of the chickens' bedding that's been aging for a while. And you can see it's looking really good when I pull back the pile. It's really great soil. I'll give you a closer look. So this is typically any kind of conventional food that we get. I'll compost back in this pile, and then I keep all the organic stuff in the garden. Here's one of the apple trees. So I just pulled back the deer cage that was around it, and also pulled back the leaves. It still looks like it's in pretty good shape. You can see some of the big rocks here. So that was left over from when I planted them. I have a video about that. I'll link in the description. These are some suckers coming up, so those need to get trimmed before I put down the compost, but overall looks good. I trimmed the suckers, and then I also put down cardboard before I put the compost on top. And the reason that those little rocks were there is that that's supposed to prevent moles from going after the roots. So you can see I've got that all, squared away there. And I just planted some peas as an experiment. This tree, you can see how when I got them, they're actually grafted onto dwarf rootstock, so they don't grow so large. What I wanted to show you here is I have strawberries that I planted beneath the apple tree last year, and these produced really well. So I'm actually going to try and just hand pull any weeds around them, and then I'll be placing cardboard around them so that it'll help mulch the strawberries as well as the apple tree. So on the other apple trees, I planted some fava beans and snap peas, and I'm curious if I can kind of grow some food around them since they're protected. Here's a visual to give you an idea of how I structure the cardboard around the strawberries. I mentioned that I'm also setting up a swarm trap today, so I think I'm going to set up 2. So what I have here, this is all of the wax foundation for the new Layens hive that I got. I have a separate video about unboxing the Layens hive, and I'm going to use the Layens hive as a swarm trap for a month or so. And then as I see the colonies expanding, I'll try and, if it doesn't get any tenants, I'm going to try and do a split and move one of the queens into it. So for now, I need to thaw this because this was in the freezer because I wanted to make sure it was stored well. So later today, once this warms up, plus today is going to be a warm day, I can get this foundation pressed into the Layens hive frames. And I'm not going to put all of the frames out there, just in case wax moths and other pests get in there. At least if things do get damaged, it won't be everything. I'm also now, I'll show you the typical swarm trap that I put out. And there is one area that has been successful where I did catch a swarm, and it's not too far from the house, but that's where I'm planning to put the Layens hive, because the Layens hive is heavier and I wouldn't have to move it around too much if I keep it there. But I'm actually going to put the swarm trap as far away from the house as I think would be feasible, where I feel like it's a good space. That's where in some of the pig videos, like they had the most space to run around out back. So it's got its own tree line area. So swarms are typically attracted to tree lines, and I think it's a good place. So I'm going to find a south facing little section up there to get the swarm trap set up. The swarm trap is going to have to wait because now I've remembered I meant to do this last year. This swarm trap was out for a really long time. No one ever got to it, and it had a ton of wax moths in it, so I had put it in the freezer, and then it's what I was supposed to do was clean it and then store it, but I had just stored it. So this is not active stuff. This is all old damage. But I'm leaving this out here so that little Miss Lady Cardamom here can come over and clean it up a little. And there's no room in the freezer right now, so later today there will be, and then I could cycle this all through the freezer one more time just to make sure nothing's on here, and I'll set the swarm trap up tomorrow. With my luck, there'll be a swarm today because it's going to be so nice out, but we'll just make do with what we have. One of the other things on my list today is to clean out the quail coop. Got about 10 quail overwintering, so they're ready for a good cleaning. I pulled all of the bedding out, and so I sprinkled diatomaceous earth inside before putting down new bedding. I am done. I use leaves for the bedding in their run area, and it's all sprinkled with diatomaceous earth that just prevents any pests. But I like using leaves because just like today, I just scoop it all out and put it in a compost pile, and it's super nitrogen rich, plus you get all the great nutrients of the leaves. It's awesome. The quail coop is right next to the apiary, and my one hive is very active. Swarm anxiety is real, very real. You can see the pig shelter there, so the apiary is actually just past that. So the pigs have rotated up through here. Seeing the bee activity made me want to get the swarm trap set up sooner, so I got everything cleaned up, and I found this perfect rock to hold it. Just got in the hives. This is Queen Gloria. She's laying amazing, and the hive is so calm. The other hive, and look at the pollen pans. The other hive looked great too, and then I'm about to go into the massive one with all the activity. Just as I suspected, the massive hive had royal jelly in its queen cups, so they were planning on swarming soon. So I went through the entire hive, and of course, in typical queen fashion, I found Queen Annette on the very last frame that I pulled out, but I did the split, and she's good. I know some people are against overhead spraying, particularly in high tunnels, but I like to do it and just kind of mix things up because I think it's important for the plants to feel that movement on them. It helps keep them stronger. And I also feel like, I mean, they're plants, they're meant to get rained on, so why I take that little feeling away from them. So yeah, I rotate between overhead watering and the soaker hoses. Seedlings. It's the seedlings' first time seeing sunshine. We just had 2 hours of early morning sun, and now they're gonna spend the rest of the day on the porch. Our meat birds are doing well. They're growing very quickly, and because they're growing so quickly, we need to get their next place set up. So I'll show you some of the progress we're making on that. This is the early stages of the future coop.
Could it be any messier in here?
Of course. It's normal. It's the end of a very long, full day, and I love when this weather cooperates, especially this time of the year when the days are getting longer and you can spend the entire day outside. It just feels really rewarding, and even though it's a lot of work, because I didn't show you that I also moved the pigs and did their next fencing, so it was a really full day. I did promise to give you an update on the mountain hives, so I'm going to share a little bit, and then I'm going to leave you with a clip of what I found under one of the hives. Puppy is coming here with his toy. So while I was inspecting the mountain hives, I came across a flying squirrel. Yes, a flying squirrel. We've seen on the trail cam, and I'll probably do a separate video. Now he's finding something interesting. Sorry, puppy distracted me. So we had gotten on the trail cam a few times a little creature that Mike was saying is a mouse, and I'm like, this doesn't look like a mouse. It just looks really strange. And then this was the first time that I saw it in real life, and I had heard that we have flying squirrels out there, but we hadn't seen them before. And in my head, a flying squirrel would be in a tree. I wouldn't expect to find it in a hive stand. Like, that's really not where I would expect it. From what I understand, they're nocturnal, so that explains why we get it on the trail cam in the middle of the night. And I was just inspecting in the early evening, and it got a little spooked and it jumped out. And when I inspected the hive stand that I saw it run out from, this is what I found, is what I'm about to share with you. And I just also want to share too, I've got a lot of new followers lately, so if you are new, welcome. And if you're watching this for the first time and you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe, and check out the description for links about some of the other videos that I mentioned. Plus I have some blog posts that dive a little bit deeper into some of the topics I chatted about. But I'll leave you with this little critter that I found in the hive stand. I found somebody that has been on camera hanging out down here. You're not allowed around here, Miss or Mr. Well, I guess you are. I see you made a glorious nest over here, but let's see. So I don't see any babies, and I need to see if I have a live trap to get this little one. So yeah, gotta work on that.